and welcome to Warhammer Workshop. My name is Amy, and I am joined, as always, by our very own member of the Adeptus Administratum, JF. JF, hello.
Oh, yes, this is exactly my life. A hell of bureaucracy.
Yeah, bureaucracy and paperwork.
I've told you my theory that if ever there should be a fifth demon god of chaos, it should be the god of bureaucracy, and it's already at work in the Imperium.
Yeah.
And it's winning.
We'll get to the possibility of a fifth chaos god at some point today. So things are a little different this week in that we are rolling our preview review into our regular episode, because on the regular side of things, it's a little bit quiet, which is understandable after having seen this.
I mean,
preview.
We could have vamped for an entire half hour on Louise's apron, and that would have been fine.
She's not the only one who had it. Somebody else, it looks like they were in like the warehouse or whatever, was also wearing one, and I'm worried it's like a GW holiday gift, and I'm sad about it because it's great.
It is really damn good. Like the thing is, as much as I'd like to say I bake enough for 2 aprons, I don't already have a cool apron.
I never wear an apron when I bake, but I want it anyway.
Yeah, no, you're at a stage where you can probably collect aprons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
why
fine.
not?
You're good. It's okay.
So you and I stayed up to the middle of the night to watch Adam and Alex, who's the new lore master guy who got up in the middle of the night to do a preview.
Yes, it was clear these guys were up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
No, it's good. Listen, I'm there for the pretty models, not the not the English accented hijinks.
You missed Sleepy Wade that time because you got to see the real one, and that was really good. But it's cool. It's cool.
It's fine.
So we had a preview, and there was a lot of stuff. It's a very chaos-heavy preview. Like, not entirely, but it was chaos-heavy.
But, I mean, as much as I'm always annoyed that there's too much chaos in Warhammer 40k, they have been kind of on a diet recently.
Yeah.
Like, all we get is teasers of things to come. So, getting a bigger teaser.
There's a variety.
Yeah.
First up, we have the World Eaters Codex. We knew this was coming. This is our first look at it, and it's some good art. It is as many skulls as you would expect, and yet maybe somehow still not enough skulls.
It's strange for Codex covers that I've reached a point where, like, the first few codexes of this edition, I go, oh man, the cover art is really on point. And although it's not like the quality's gone down, but I've gotten used to it. It's like, this is just as good as some of the earlier, if not better. And yet I am somehow less excited because, of course, it's that good.
They did point out there's a little guy just down to the side that's like trying to hand this Chaos Lord, I assume, or whatever, or Berserker, whoever he is, a skull. He's like, here, I brought you this one. I found it.
I drew your name in the Christmas exchange.
I hope you like it.
I hope you like it. I figured because you have a lot of them on your desk.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
But you didn't have this one. This one is Paul.
Yeah, this one, yeah. I mean, HR's been talking about it.
So we also got a look at the rest of the new models that are coming, because we did know that there was more than just the Berserker.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entire codex of a specific legion.
Yeah, so there had to be more.
Yeah.
So these are the 8-bound. And I guess the lore is that they take a Chaos Space Marine, they put him in a box, they plug some...
There's a song above this.
Yeah, they plug some things into their heads, and then they pump 8 demons into them. You know.
And then whatever comes out of the box is one of these dudes.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things they didn't go into during the preview is explaining why 8 demon and
Isn't
why
that
this is important.
Isn't that Korn's number? Isn't Korn 8?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Korn is 8, and like nowhere do they mention that. So if you're someone who's kind of new to 40K, like you've been in 40K for a year and a half, and like you're looking forward to this, like the numbers for the various chaos gods, while they're still in the lore, they don't get as mentioned as they used to be.
Yeah.
Like there used to be a time where you would get bonuses for having the correct number of Space Marines or demons in a unit,
Right.
if it matched your chaos god's number.
Nurgle's 7, right?
Nurgle is 7.
Which is why I did the like.
Slanesh is 9.
I did the like. Why are there 7 dudes in a box? That's so random. Oh, right.
Exactly, and I believe that Zench is 6.
Yeah.
So like 6, 7, 8, 9.
And so yeah, and then there's like an ascended form, I guess, where if they're like extra demony.
And
And
you get bonus demon points.
yeah, if you got bonus demon points, and those are the exalted 8-bound. They're more dangerous, more demonic, more gross.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this kit, because I'm assuming this is the same kit,
Yeah.
is they're clearly world eaters. They're not just, hey, this is corn.
Right.
Like the same way, like the Thousand Sons have their old like Egyptian thing with eyes and stuff. These guys, you'll notice the collar of their armor is teeth, like a mouth, like the World Eater logo. So I guess their head's the world.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah.
But I mean, the iconography is clear, and that's what's important.
Oh, absolutely. There's a dude with like a blade coming out of his hand, like a circular saw blade, but it's also a mouth, and I can't. There's a lot of mouths.
Yes.
So if this is not your thing, it's gross.
I get the willies when there's too many teeth on things that shouldn't have teeth.
Yeah. This one guy with the big long pike has an awful lot of.
Yeah,
teeth,
I'm thankful that this is painted kind of Games Workshop cartoony with big bright reds and things.
Yeah.
Someone who wants to make this look really, really creepy could do a job that would send shivers down my spine.
Mm-hmm. So, given that we are sort of having a resurgence of the Chaos Cultist, it turns out that World Eaters have their own, which is cool.
Unexpected, though.
Unexpected, but cool. So these are the
cool.
jackals.
Because my expectation was that if any mortal humans were to be hanging around with servants of Khorne, the servants of Khorne would see their skull and their blood as more valuable than whatever service they can provide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet not these guys.
No. There's an interesting thing on the community page about these guys. We're underneath the picture of all of these cool guys. It says, if you think they look nasty now, wait until you see what they can do when they're all juiced up on stims. Good times. Good
And
times.
you notice on their back they have these tanks of what looks like blood, and apparently that's the stims, and those tanks also have 8 drops of World Eater blood in them to give them even more power and a bigger connection to Khorne.
Yeah.
Have you ever given blood?
I haven't, not like for reals, only for medical purposes, but yeah.
Right. So the thing is, I don't know if they get all of this pumped into them, but that is a lot of blood, and they would have high blood pressure from this.
My assumption is it's almost like portable dialysis. They just filter out the human and put in the demon and just filter it through. There's an inlet
also,
and an outlet.
Because I was thinking, like, if you've seen someone suffering from really high blood pressure, they do have kind of a Khorne thing going with like the veins and the red face.
You're right.
And often very angry. So, anyways, no, I mean it's cool, and I suspect not everybody is gonna paint this. Like, some genius painter is going to paint the tanks that they have a liquid of a certain color, but you can see the drops of red blood in them sort of dissipating. Like someone's gonna pull that, and it's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna be angry. Yeah, which works because corn.
Yeah. We've also got the Lord on the Juggernaut. We've seen the demonic version of this kit before, but now this is the more Marini version. And I do love a Juggernaut. These were some of the first models I ever had. And, yeah, very good time. Someday I will pull them back out. Today is not that day.
Now, what I would love to is if I still knew Vincent Hudon, who painted, like, the legendary magma version of the original kit of that. Yeah. I would love to see what he would do with that today, but I haven't heard of Vincent, like, ages, so I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's still in the hobby, but it's nice to see the Juggernaut getting a proper kit, I guess.
Yeah. No, he's cool. So then of course you've got, you know, the regular stuff is also in the codex: the Land Raiders, the Demon Engines, the Terminators, Demon Prince,
Lord of Skulls, which everybody hates for some reason.
I don't love that model. I do think it's kind of funny looking.
It's very 40K. And I mean, it is taken verbatim from, like, an epic thing. So
sure.
And I mean, what were you going to give him? Like, legs?
No.
He's... it's one of those kits that suffers from bad positioning of the limbs.
That's true.
I've seen him modeled. Some people have converted him similar to Nurgle, and they gave him like a bulkier look. Someone else, I saw like a version where the upper body is sort of leaned forward a bit, and one of the hands is pushed forward, the other one is back, like a little bit like the guy on the Juggernaut that you see on screen right now, where he looks like he's got motion to. Like, you can imagine those threads on the tank portion are just working overtime to push him into battle.
I think it's the tiny waist that I have. It's a tiny waist that is also a gun. And I think that's the part that looks a little silly to me.
Yeah, I don't know that something of Khorne should have guns that much.
Yeah.
But, I mean shooting from the belly is a very epic thing, too. Like, if you could look at Gargants and things.
That's true. On the Sigmar side of things, we have a new battle tome for the Beasts of Chaos. I like the Beasts of Chaos.
Yay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We did also get a brand new Beast Lord, which the video that they showed for this had a bunch of like actual baby goats in it, and it was very good. And I did like that
baby
part.
coats just destroying things, to be specific.
It was very good. I do actually really like this model. I think it would be a fun one to paint, to really paint. I think he's got a lot of potential, almost like some of those Gargant models do, but he's not that sort of commitment level. You know what I mean? It has that same variety of textures and little bits and greeblies, and he's got a severed head hanging off of his belt and that kind of thing. And so it's that same sort of variety of stuff, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, and there's one of the things I find important when painting a fig just for the fun of it is like there's a clarity to what is what on the fig.
Yes. Yeah, I hate when I have to go look it up. Be like, what is this? Yeah, it's thing?
Like now. Detail that's interesting, like this guy has the armpit hair of a freaking god.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So they're getting a bit of a buff. We are in the Age of Beasts right now in Sigmar, so that stands to reason. So these guys are coming soon, but they are not the only new battle tome that was announced. We also have the new Gloomspite Gits, fan favorite. Gloomspite Gits.
Now, here's the thing. Like, you and I are clearly more excited about the Gits than we are about the Beastmen.
Yeah.
Might have to do with some of the kits that we're going to see in a second. but is that fair of us?
No, probably not. But
No. But it is a bit of a disappointment though that like if you're a Beastman player and you're finally like here's your battle tome
and
here's the one fig you get for your battle tome.
Yeah.
Like you wait years to get a new battle tome for the new edition. Usually with a new book comes new figs, and you're like, oh man, are we gonna get like a massive beast? Or are we gonna? You've seen what they've done for Gargants. Gargants get their king of the Gargants and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting such cool figs. You just saw what like the world eaters are getting. It's like, oh man, we're going to get a beast. You do get a beast.
A goat boy.
Yeah, you get a little goat boy.
He's very good.
He's very good.
Now, I've been waiting for new spiders for a long time. I want spider riders because the current kits are very much modeled in that rank and file way that fantasy used to be. We got
They're
riders.
Not very dynamic.
No, they're not, and that's fine. But not for my purposes. And we did get riders, but they're wolf riders. They are amazing. That woven banner is lights out good. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love
It's cool. It's dynamic. It's textured. It's not one of those flat banners that we're used to seeing. Or worse, flat banners with like sculpted 3D things on it.
Yeah.
Their little shields are adorable.
They're so cute. And they all have their own like individual stuff on them. They've got teeth. Usually teeth. But there's different kinds of teeth. They've got their favorite teeth on there. We've got a very important doot-to-doot boy, which every army needs to have the doot-to-doot.
Music is important in war.
The internet loves those guys. And yet, these are somehow not the only goblins that we saw, because we have the next Underworlds warband. Oh, no, we don't.
No, wait, we don't.
I did a bad job.
It's fine. Everybody will forgive you because your voice is soothing.
We got the Battle Tome roadmap. So we have the Slaves to Darkness book that is coming out, just came out last week with the box. I don't know if it's out separate yet. We have the Beasts of Chaos and the Gloomspite Gits for winter. In the spring, we've got an Order Battle Tome, 2 Chaos Battle Tomes, a Death Battle, and then 2 Death Battle Tomes, followed by another Order one in the summer.
Now, is it me or is spring loaded?
That's a lot of battle tomes.
It's a lot of battle tomes. I mean, if you're someone who gets one of those battle tomes announced for Age of Sigmar, you're probably not expecting a really thick release.
Right?
Then again, what else are they going to be releasing in spring? Like, maybe that's it. Maybe spring is all about Age of Sigmar. As far as models are concerned,
it could be.
And that might not be the worst thing ever. Like we've said that we would like a break before they reset all the codexes for 40k. Please don't, Games Workshop.
Don't.
God damn it!
Like
don't.
you can start reissuing new ones. That's fine. We can just go around the horn again, but don't nuke everything again.
Don't nuke everything. I would much rather see supplements to codexes, like keep iterating on the FAQs and the data slates.
Yeah.
I don't want to start my collection over. I want new things, not rebuying old things. We've been over this. It's just
I mean, that's basically what they do with what they've been doing with Sigmar, right? Is like new ones will come out and like every so often you'll have basically version 2 of the same edition, and I'm fine with that. We did it with Chaos and Space Marines in the last edition, and that's fine. That's fine, as long as you make it worth it. Because that's...
Yeah. And I think that is their... Like, we're going a bit on a tangent, but I think that is the kind of conundrum they have, is that when they want to update a codex, even if, like, oh, this codex works, this army works, but we need to change a few things... But we can't issue a new book and only change a few things. We need to change a bunch of things. And that's how we wind up always having new codexes that redefine an army from top to bottom. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to play Tyranids, and I want to keep playing Tyranids. And if there's changes to how the Tyranids work, I want it to be small adjustments to the general feel of the army, and then just give me new units and new models.
Right.
That's all the collector wants, in my opinion.
This is a lot, though.
It's a lot. Like, of everything that's there, and that's 9 battle tomes on the screen. Only one of them is out right now.
Yeah.
It needs 8 more battle tomes in what looks to be like it's 3 seasons, but I mean,
yeah,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's almost a battle tome a week, because we're not gonna see, like, if we're seeing this in winter, like, we're not seeing much of this. Like, we're gonna see one in December and one in like January
Or January and February, and then start the rollout in March.
Spring. 5 battle
after
tomes
the
is
big old
amazing.
Adepticon preview. So now
I'm curious to see how that's gonna roll out.
Now we do have more goblins.
Yes.
So we have the next Underworlds warband, and it's Grinkrak's Loon Court. So these are the Loon Knights, and they go on quests, and they have the labyrinth bitey thing on a stick. They have a mushroom blowgun, is what I'm going to call it.
I mean, it's a tutor thingy, but also I think it spits spores.
Yeah, it looks like, or poison. It doesn't look good. There's the the Squigapult.
Yes, which is, I believe, my favorite. I know a lot of people like the squig on a stick.
The squig on a stick is good, but I do like the Squigapult. I like the Squigapult because it looks very much like they're going to pull that back and let go, but that squig is just biting onto the string, and so it's not actually going to go anywhere.
I don't think it's biting on the string, but because can you imagine, like, squigs are little balls of hunger and rage. Like, they're hangry. Hangry is what squigs are.
Yes.
And someone's just throwing one in your face.
So I was playing a little more Shoot His Blood and Teeth last night, and that's what your stick bombs are. They're bomb squigs, and they're just angry, and they follow bad guys around and bite until they explode. And that is a very similar feel.
Yes.
I do love there's a shield that the Squigapults people are sort of, that it's mounted on, that they're hiding behind, and the mushrooms on that are A+. These are very good mushrooms.
Well, I
They all
love
have very
how
good mushrooms.
Games Workshop has really leaned. Like, I mean, the big guy in this has a tactical mushroom,
He does.
which
Yes,
is a
he
bad
does.
idea. Mushrooms are not that solid. This
You
guy's
know.
he's gonna crush this and slip on it and fall on his ass, and that is gonna be the most gobo thing to do.
I don't know. I mean, orcs are pretty solid mushrooms.
Touche.
Mushrooms in Warhammer are a little different. He also has one at the end of his spear. It's very good.
Yes.
I think I might paint mine so that glows. Because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is probably his claim to fame. I have a glowy mushroom on my stick. That means I'm the king.
From the world of boxed games, we move over to the Ash Waste and Necromunda with the House Cador walkers, I guess, is what we'll call
I
them.
suppose legs, mechanical legs.
They are mechanical legs. All right.
These manage to look both silly and not silly at the same time,
I
and
love
I'm
them
not
so much.
sure. The fact that you love them makes me think they probably look silly.
Yeah. So I think they could look not silly if you wanted them to. I think a lot of it is the posing also, right?
Yeah.
Like the ones that have their legs kicking out the back are decidedly a little sillier than the other ones. But they also have the patented grenade on a stick, which is also very silly, and that's fine. But what I like about these is that because we talked about on previous episodes, what are they going to do for other gangs? Because everything has been very motorcycle-y with the exception of the Ash Waste nomads that are riding big bugs. But it's been a very motorcycle-y ATV kind of thing. So it's like,
even some hover stuff, which is
yeah,
supposed to be rare.
but now we've got these guys and their little mechanical legs, and that I feel like that opens up all of the possibilities.
It does.
Like, it could go anywhere from here.
While the quality of the painting on these guys in this example is good, I feel that there's a lack of uniformity that makes them look 20% less cool than they would otherwise.
I think that's a choice, right?
It is.
The idea is that they're building them out of whatever they can find. You know what I mean?
But I mean, even the dudes themselves are not. They're not all wearing the same color.
Right.
Like, they don't have that uniform look that you kind of assume that you see in a warband for Necromunda. Which is, I mean, like, again, that is also a choice.
Right.
But I feel it sells it less because to me, like, I look at these guys and they've got their very makeshift rebreather. They're mostly wearing cloth and their weapons are very makeshift. It almost doesn't look Khador enough, and it looks a bit Ash Waste Warrior.
Yeah, you're right. I do see that.
So I'm saying, like, I'm eager to see what people are going to do when they paint them to match the rest of their Khador.
I do like that they've addressed, so they've got the frag lance both primed, and then once you do use that grenade on the end of your stick, you do still have a big stick.
Yes.
And that is fairly useful.
Probably slightly splintered towards the end.
Yeah, very sharp.
Yeah, 'cause one of the missed opportunities on the things with the armor, like Khador are very highly religious. Like, I would have loved to see, like,
iconography.
Some iconography,
Relic.
some, like, I feel that's kind of a bit what's missing here.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
But they're cool.
I'm not gonna lie.
They're cool. These are going to be great orc models.
They are going to be amazing orc models. I've already seen people talking about it. And
of course.
It's great. There's a painter I follow whose name escapes me, who's he does grots. They're like grot revolutionaries, and he's, I believe, going to run them as guard. And so these are going to be his rough riders. It's going to be quite good.
Yes. See, my first thought was you put some grots on there and you call those mega knobs.
Yeah.
But of course, mega gits in this case.
Of course.
And slap on some things on them. Anyways.
All right, I'm not gonna lie.
Possibilities are endless.
I've kind of been getting through the other stuff to get to where we are now.
I know, and I have been intentionally stretching out.
And it's very good.
As much by giving the people information and entertainment.
No.
But I have been delaying this to annoy you. Because I know this is your the icing on the cake for you.
Very excited.
Oh, for me too. Like, obviously, I'm looking forward to this.
All right, the Arks of Omen. We're finally getting some more details on this. So the last preview, we got the teaser trailer for what Arks of Omen, but not even for what Arks of Omen is. They did talk to us about how it's a campaign and how it's run on it takes place in Space Hulks, and so it's run on the Kill Team terrain, which I'm sure will be also released separately. But
they've already announced, like, they're putting out this big terrain kit for it.
And so but we didn't know a ton beyond that. Well, now we know the first 3 books. It's the first 3 books of the Arks of Omen campaign, and it's Abaddon, Angron, and Vashtorr. Okay.
So what they've told us so far is the idea is Abaddon, in his angry quest to destroy the Imperium, has recruited Vashtorr, which we'll get to who he is, but he's an important demon guy. He's essentially I like the analogy they give that he's basically the arms merchant of chaos.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying in and of itself.
We got that super teaser at the end of the last preview with the, like, I am the Arkifane and the silhouette, and oh my god.
Yeah. So, and they've been going around capturing space hulks and first of all, clearing them and then refitting them with things to create a fleet of space hulks. Space hulks, ungoverned, undirected, when they appear in a system, already spell doom because they're huge monstrosities, like planetoid-sized ships or amalgamations of ships. There's things in there, entire civilizations, infestations of tyrannids or gene stealers or other things. Orcs use them to move an entire WoW from one part of the galaxy to another random one because orcs don't care.
Various scavengers.
So there's a lot going on in a space hulk, but if you put it under the control of chaos, or at least marginal control of chaos, and make a fleet of them, that's terrifying. And Abaddon's had success salvaging spaceships to use to destroy Imperium things. I mean, that's how he busted Cadia.
Right.
Like, by using one of the Blackstone fortresses he captured. I kind of hope Blackstone fortresses come back. Because I mean, there's still some out there, and there's some cool stuff that they kind of hinted at years ago in that board game. Anyways,
I mean,
and so
we're looping back around to the 40k side for Warhammer Quest. So,
I mean, look, maybe we're getting Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Quest 40k Space Hulk this time around.
Yeah,
and that would all fit into the setting. So that's what that first book is going to be about. And that's cool because Space Hulks is something that's always been like teased and played around with, kind of like on the periphery. There's some really good books. Like one of my favorite 40k books that happens on a Space Hulk. I play Tyranids, so like Gene Stealer, Space Hulks, like that's the core of that lore. So it's going to be interesting.
So we've got a bit of a timeline here. So we've got Abaddon and Angron in the winter, Vashtorr, and then a redacted Ordo Xenos book for book 4. Now, there's some characters at the bottom of this seal that they've put here that I have not had time yet to sit down and look at because it means something, because it always means something.
Yes.
So I'm going to look at it, but I don't know yet.
And this has me excited because, okay, Abaddon is one of those chaos characters I couldn't care less about.
Sure.
I'm sorry for anyone. Like, I prefer Horus. Horus is a more interesting character.
Yeah.
Abaddon is just...
I mean, his name...
edgy, yeah.
The way that they pronounce it, like the actual Games Workshop, is Abaddon. Like, a bad one. Like, that is literally his name, and that's about it. It's
mostly that he gives me very frustrated, edgy teenager vibes.
Sure.
He's 10,000 years old. He should probably seek a therapist. Like, he seems seriously like just, he's angry for reasons that are kind of hard to put together. Like, if I look at most other chaos things, like they're weird, they're chaosy, and they're evil, but in ways that are coherent. He's just angry at the Emperor, but he's angry at the Emperor. He's angry at his father who almost killed the Emperor. I don't find him compelling as a character.
Sure.
So already like, whatever. Angron, a little more interesting because like there's this whole thing where he seems to be trapped in the rage of Khorne, like he was tricked into it, and like this is this 10,000 year prison in a way. So there's something more interesting. So the second book on Angron, all right, I'm kind of in, but it's still chaos, not my favorite thing. But then the third book is Vashtorr, which...
You want to talk about Vashtorr?
Let's talk about Vashtorr. And we'll get back to Ordo Xenos because obviously I want to talk about that.
Let's talk about Vashtorr. Vashtorr the Arkifane. So, if you'll remember, after the sort of teaser preview at the end of the last event, I lost my mind about the Dark Mechanicum, and I still have very big hopes. So Vashtorr is sort of, they describe him as a demigod. He is not one of the Chaos Gods. He is not aligned with any of the Chaos Gods, but the Chaos Gods all find him very useful because he's real good at demon engines and technology and weapons and all of that. Now, I've always been hard-pressed to tell, like, to pick out my favorite Chaos God, right? Like, because they're all pretty good. Like, I think it's probably Tzeentch, but also Slaanesh is great. And Nurgle's cool, and then there's also Khorne. But this guy feeds off of, like, creation and making things, and he's got this, like, compulsion, and I was like, yes, this is my Chaos God. This I understand.
I believe they described him a bit as the not Chaos God, be the aspiring Chaos God of curiosity and invention. Like, to a certain degree, you can see, and this is where, like, there's a lot of fun theories, because, like, let's say this, because I can see someone like Fabulous Billy, Fabius Bile, switching allegiances to this guy, because Fabius is all about curiosity gone wrong.
Yep.
And his aesthetic would not be out of place moving towards us. And one of the clarifications they made, like, this is not a demon prince. This is not an ascended human. This is a demon created, like, basically formed from the fumes and the pollution and the exhaust of factories and manufacturums. So
this is the physical manifestation of all of these things that have created rifts in the warp. You know what I mean? Like disturbances. Like they even talk about, like, even making the Primaris Marines is a thing that would give Vashtorr strength.
Yeah, whenever someone looks too deep into technology, it strengthens Vashtorr, which is a very Chaos God thing to do.
Oh.
And so he's basically an amalgamation of machine on which is stretched out what did they say, like the skin and the flesh of the people sacrificed to him?
Basically.
Makes you wonder how many times, like, did he have to sacrifice things to him to keep him fleshed?
I mean,
constantly.
It could be. There's a lot of the rumor engines that have been shown here, by the way. He's got the exhaust pipes like a lot of the demon engines have. He's got big claws. He has these giant wings that do not fly. They're spidery and bladey and, oh my god. And his hammer can both create and destroy, because that's what hammers do. And I also like how the way that they've posed him is he's got that sort of same hunchback that, like, Khal and the other tech priests have. Like, there is a lot of that mechanicum language in there. And so I hope ultimately, if Vashtorr is all we get out of this, like, that's fine, and he's a beautiful model, and I will be very happy with it. But
it wouldn't take much for Games Workshop to give rules like, here's Vashtorr, and if you take Vashtorr, you can then take all of these demon engines from Chaos Codexes, and all of these other things from the AdMech and mash them together into your own.
And then maybe put out an upgrade sprue.
Maybe. I mean,
you don't need it. Like, you can definitely do it without, but I could see a demonic upgrade sprue for, say, the Skitarii kit. That'd be easy peasy. So good.
Yes. And there's a lot to say about, like, the future of this character, because here's the thing that Chaos has kind of been lacking to a certain degree is technological ambition and hunger. Like, Mars is an obstacle to Chaos on the way to Terra.
Yep.
But to Vashtorr, Mars becomes a goal. It becomes the prize.
Right.
like imagine being like for if you look at it from the point of view of Vashtorr, like being able to corrupt Mars itself, the seed of the Admech. Oof.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It's I mean, we're talking about increasing his power, and we do hear about like there is that old thing with this vault on Mars that the Necrons at one point tried to attack.
Yep.
Was that a shrine to Vashtorr that the Necrons were trying to take out? And there were even Adam and other guy whose name escapes me right now, and Alex, like they did mention that even way back in the olden days, like aeons ago, when the Necrons were looking at doing their whole converting the flesh to machine thing, like that also fed Vashtorr. So he was there. He is aware of the Necron. He like this is nothing of this is new to him.
Yeah.
So maybe like there's like maybe we see resolution to some extremely old lore ideas.
I love that.
Because of this new connection.
And then progress. Forward progress.
Forward progress, always fun. Which brings us to that fourth book.
Yes.
Which is Ordo Xenos Redacted. Are we seeing the connection to Necron? Are we seeing the connection to other Xenos who have a high tech bend?
Yeah.
I mean, who is technologically advanced in the galaxy? I mean, there is the Tau that did go that basically did the equivalent of 10,000 years or more of technological evolution in the span of the span of 6. Like they went from being extremely primitive to being one of the most advanced races in no time. Who influenced that?
Right.
I mean, the Orcs have their own take on technology. Is that separate from Vashtorr's influence? Does that feed Vashtorr's influence? The Necrons are probably very interested, and all of this needs to tie back to Arks of Omen. It doesn't necessarily need to tie to Vashtorr. It needs to tie to the Arks of Omen. So those Space Hulks, and as we mentioned earlier,
that's probably on one or whatever.
Yeah, because here's the thing: it could just be here's a new race that's on Space Hulk, and they're everywhere. Like, I would love to see them just exploit the idea of space vermin. Here's the Hrud.
Yep.
And you don't hear about the Hrud because usually they're on abandoned spaceships, they're on Space Hulks. Like, once in a while, people will cross their path, but nobody gives a damn. But now there is an actual force that is making a concerted effort to convert their homes. Like, imagine you're a society of rats all over a bunch of houses in a neighborhood, and someone's like, all right, we're revamping all these houses and putting them back. Like, we're flipping them. We're flipping these houses. And the rat's like, wait, whoa, no, this is home. Screw you guys. We're revolting. And then you get Rat Kings and you get all like, can we get that? Can I get my Hruds? And they're rising up from the Space Hulk, and that's what stops Chaos from using the Arks of Omen to conquer the galaxy. Rats.
I know.
That would be great.
I now want Flip my Space Hulk.
Yes.
This is my new plan.
I've just talked myself into being extremely excited about something that's not going to happen again.
Flip my Space Hulk.
It'd be so good though, because it's basically taking the Orcs Luda mentality and like cranking it up to 11 with little rats. Assuming they use the rat visual and not the I don't have joints visual for the Hrud.
Yeah. Don't love that.
I do not like that at all.
Space rats.
Give me my space rats. Space rats versus Vashtorr.
Very good.
That
would be a tough one for me. Give me that box.
No. Because here's what happened. Like,
all right.
By that time, by the time all of this comes out, like there's Dark Mechanicum and there's Space Rat Salvagers, and you make enough money from your podcasting, you move to Montreal, and then we do like a 4-year crusade campaign that's all about just that. paint
Perfect.
tutorials and battle reports and all that dumb stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I do want to specify that these books, like they said, these are a standalone campaign. You do not need to buy these books to add that one unit to your army if you're playing in matched play. That is not what this is. They have listened to us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to us on that one. And now we have, like, it's just a campaign. And, like, for people like us who are not big matched play people, this is real good.
I don't mind a match play.
No, but we
excited
enjoy
about
we enjoy a narrative.
and that's great. Like, I like the idea that, okay, match play is going to be the tournaments, it's going to be the meta watch, it's going to be all those, like, the FAQs and the data slates that we keep these things updated all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get nitty gritty with that. But if you want narrative, if you want the story to move forward, we're going to do that. But we're going to do that with the narrative play.
Yeah.
And really leaning into what people like of each of these two ways to play.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, it's
I think a lot of that comes from the fact that the hobby has gotten so big, whereas, you know, in previous times you kind of had to pick, right? Like GW kind of couldn't focus on both because they just didn't have the resources. But now they do because we give them all of our money. And now they're going to give us everything we want. And we'll all live happily ever after. With space
And
rats.
that is the absolute biggest benefit of having the hobby grow, because I know there's this, and I feel it sometimes. Like, I look at how big the hobby is growing, like all the video games. Dark Tide came out, it's super fun. Like, I look at how big it's going, and compared to when I got into it, and when I got into it, it did feel like, oh, this is my thing and I am special because I like this. I can make this part of my personality because it's such a like, it's such a rare thing, so to speak. And like, it did give you kind of like this is my club, and that is cool, and it feels like a shame that we're losing it, but seeing what we're gaining in return makes it all worthwhile, like 100-fold. And you can make other dumb things part of your personality.
Plus,
instead.
you have your own, like, little subgroup within the hobby now. You know what I mean?
Like,
whereas before it was like, if you were the Warhammer guy, you were just like the Warhammer guy.
The Warhammer guy, because nobody cared about the sub stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
but now you can be very
the orc
into
guy.
Ash Wastes nomads, and that's your thing, and that's great.
Yes,
Or you could be us.
Exactly, man. But no, you're absolutely right, because like, it's not just about like, oh, I can be orc or I can be space marine. Like, it doesn't even have to be just space sub factions. Like, you really want to have your own little club, like, be the AI player, be the Aeronautica Imperialist player, and you're going to be in a very, very rarefied environment there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because it is the best game, but here we are.
Yeah.
It's good. It's funny because I was preparing. I do prepare for these. Like, I was preparing for this, this recording, and looking at a preview and looking at the images again, and thinking, man, I don't know if there's that much for me to get excited about. Like, it feels very anemic. Like, there's no release dates. They didn't dig that deep into like the lore of the Arks of Omen. But now that we talk about it, I'm realizing, you know what? Maybe I am more into this than I thought. Like, I like the idea of them doing the narrative thing separate from match play a little bit.
Yep, I'm into it. So, that wraps up the review. We will, next week, we'll circle back to some of the stuff we didn't cover that did come out this week. There was not a ton of it, but things like the new Necromunda vehicle and the animation that came onto Warhammer Plus that you and I have to discuss with the people.
If you want to hear about the Necromunda vehicle, we did give our opinion on that on 40K Radio.
We did.
So if you want to go listen to that podcast, we recorded with Matt Alex, who's just an awesome dude.
Yep.
And we do talk a little bit about the new Necromunda thing.
Yeah. The pre-orders this week are basically all made to order Chaos Dudes from the olden times, which is fine, but not.
It's fine.
They won't carry a whole episode.
No.
So, I think that about wraps this up. Yes.
Yes. I am looking forward to this. I am going to wait for those books to come out for Arks of Omen because I'm
They
very interested.
did
I
say-
don't want to make promises yet,
Mhm.
but when Vashtorr comes out, do you want to like stream painting
Yeah,
that guy?
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
Thought so.
They did say that the first book will be out before Christmas, so that's sooner than one thinks. And
Treat yourself.
yeah, very exciting. So, all of our social media information is in the description if you want to get in touch with us and tell us your feelings about the Arks of Omen and be excited with us. Like, just be excited with us. We don't care if you don't like it, it's fine. And until next week, happy hobbying. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping us a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching. Materials shown in this video are provided fully or in part by Games Workshop for promotional purposes.